Welcome today to Mommy Talk. We're gathered here today. You'll see we're not exactly social distancing, but this is Melody and Audra, mother and daughter, so they're snuggled up here together. Sharon and I are 6 feet apart. That's what we're doing today. But thank y'all for being here. We're just happy to get to be together. We miss all of y'all so much, and we know being isolated at home like you are with precious children is all kinds of opportunities to trust God, and so we just want to welcome you. And Sharon has got, who all's already on watching?
Well, Tana. Hello, Tana. Charity's
Tana.
watching. Charity Leal. That's Tommy's daughter.
Aw.
And Chuck Wallace, eh, Chuck?
Hey, Chuck. All right.
We got
Tell us-
Brenda and Kayla are watching.
Who had a baby just a few minutes ago?
That would be Paige
Paige.
Williams. So healthy baby, healthy birth.
Yes, baby boy.
I believe so.
What? Okay. Yeah. It's a boy or a girl, y'all.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, our phones, we have our phones here with us, and so Sharon's is going off. We don't claim to be professionals, but what we do claim to be is 4 women who love God and love people and are doing our best to be our best every day, even though the devil will tell us we're not. Right? And all. And so before we get started with, they're going to teach today. Melody taught Audra homeschooling. Was she just the perfect teacher every day?
She really was. It's one of her strengths.
Here, put your mouth.
She was.
She was.
But I was also the perfect student. So
There you go. Did you do Bobby too? And Sarah?
Bobby and Sarah.
And they're all geniuses
I
today.
know.
There you go. And so we're hearing 2 generations of mommy talk, of homeschooling, and then when Abby starts doing this with her kids, we'll have to come back. It'll be 3 generations doing it, because I mean, who was it? I was thinking something the other day about how we're just. I mean, you know, when you stay someplace long enough, you know the young couples, and you're one of the young couples. And then you just keep going, and then people start saying yes, ma'am, to you. And then I remember the first friend I had what was a grandparent, and I was like, ugh, I'm friends with a grandmother. And then all of a sudden, I am a grandmother. And then here you go, and now Sharon gets to be a great-grandmother.
I was a baby when I got, blessed with a grandbaby.
Yes, absolutely. And so here we go. But anyway, I did want to do a teaching today and praying about Mommy Talk and what we're all going through right now. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to tell you Sunday is Mother's Day, and we've got a special day planned. We're going to do a parking lot service, and it's going to start at 10, I assume, again, because that's when the last one's
10:30.
10:30. Yay! I think that's a much better time than
I do
10.
too.
And we're used to 10:30. And it's going to start at 10:30 on Sunday in our parking lot, and we're going to park in curves again like we did last time. They pointed out that one of our staff did not respect social distancing and kept running from cars to cars.
It was
Was she
probably
barefoot?
Pastor
She
Eddie.
was
She was barefoot.
Oh. And so I am going to do my best to not do that again, although I want to run and hug every one of you. But anyway, we have 8 $50 gift cards we're going to give away. We want to get you back on the town square with our businesses, and so Atchison's and Lance and Shayna's and Lou D's,
Ludi's, our stuff.
Mosaic, your shop.
Kenna Trotter's place.
Yes, we want to do
Studio K.
Studio
Yes,
K.
thank you.
We want to help these people get people back in, so you can win $50 gift cards. We'll be handing out tickets to every car that a mom is in. Along with that, we're giving everybody hugs. And we have Audra brought back a great big bag today of hugs that her kids did. We've got all the hugs painted now and ready to go, and we're bagging up in little pouches. So if you're a mom and you're at the service Sunday, we're going to give you a hug that you can take home. I have mine on my mirror. I have one up here at the office, and the story behind those, and I shared this one time before, but Precious Sherry Vansel gave everybody hugs and taught your kids and lots of kids Bible verses, and just, you know, such a servant of God. She would come up here and fold the bulletins, and she's just a Proverbs 31 woman. That's it.
Amen.
And she stepped over into heaven, and her precious husband, Jim, is here trying to figure out life now. And he carved all of these for us to hand out. God gave me the idea from my office to the front office. It was God.
I love it.
And so this blessed Jim to get to do these. It blessed us to have the hugs, and blessed all the kids and the moms for them to get to do them. So Sunday, Mother's Day, be here, 10:30. We're going to be handing out hugs and handing out tickets for the drawings for the moms, and do these $8 $50 gift cards. And we're going to hear a wonderful word, and we're going to be filled and encouraged. And before you know it, we're going to be back up here. And getting to give real hugs.
Yes.
And all. So, but today I wanted to share something with you about fear and anxiety. And we've at the beginning of this, did y'all spend a lot of time watching TV and listening to what they were saying about all of this? See, I did. I had in the mornings, I turn on the Today Show, and they try to be upbeat and positive and all, and so I kind of slid into that. And then I started realizing, you know, what I was doing to my spirit. Not only that, but I've lived my life trying to teach my children and be this way myself, that you can make the best or the worst of anything, and to sit around listening to numbers and what they're anticipating and all of that was not edifying to me. And I started realizing this is such an opportunity for me to have more time with God, more time around my house, more time with my family. I have cooked more in the last 7 weeks than I did the last 7 years. I mean, every day we're cooking. Not we, that's me. And but we are all eating. Have y'all put on any weight through this? Because yes. I think I have found 4, maybe 5 pounds.
It's the quarantine 15.
There it is, there it is. Well, we have our first virus baby because Kira and Timothy are now going to have a baby. So yay!
Hallelujah.
But anyway, I started stepping back and looking at what I was hiding in my heart and thinking in my mind, and it was not edifying. It wasn't whatsoever things are good and pure and that type of thing. And I started going back to, do I really believe in God? What do I really believe? Because we get in this, and I saw on on our prayer team that you had put something up about that. But, you know, we get in this mode of get up every day, read my Bible, pray, do the things I do, then get, you know, and take off going. And then the day, pray again, get ready for bed and all that. And you're just on autopilot. So I really have stepped back during this time and asked myself, do I really believe in God? Well, yes, I do. Why do I believe in God? Well, because the Word is true, and it brings life in my heart every day. Every time I read the Word, it gives me something that I need. And when I come to church, and this isn't promoting my husband, but sometimes I come to church just like the rest of you, and I'm tired, or on occasion I'm not real happy with the pastor. But when he steps up here, he becomes my pastor and not my husband. And this is the honest to God truth. I have never come up here that I haven't been glad I've come, that I haven't been fed by the worship, that I haven't walked away with something, a tool that I can take and meditate on during the week and all of that. And so I can go back and say, yes, I believe in God. Yes, I have seen him do miracle after miracle in my life. I've seen his good hand go where I couldn't and do what I could never do. And I've seen his word teach me, and as I hide it in my heart and meditated on it, it changes your life. I mean, this is not something we're playing at. This is something that is real. And it's a lifeline to us. And it's not just for now here on this earth. Scott has stepped over into heaven a month ago today. And I've tried to remind myself all morning of what that man is doing. And he was my silly buddy up here. So he's probably doing his corn dog dance and a few things. And he's known in heaven, I'm sure. And we love him, but he laid the groundwork, guys, to be where he is today. And that's what we've got to do, is lay that groundwork every day. So when we step out of this life, we step over into heaven. And so I just wanted to share for just a minute about anxiety and fear. And I wrote down 3 scriptures, and it's John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I don't give you the peace of the world that the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled. Do not be afraid. And when it says do not let, that means we have a part in that. We can let our hearts be troubled, and that's what I'm saying I was doing at first, was letting my heart be troubled, because I was listening to these numbers and all the things that were going on, and I was allowing that in my heart. And so you have a choice if you're going to walk in fear, if you're going to walk in anxiety. You cannot let your heart be troubled. Do not let your heart be troubled. And the next one was Matthew 6:34, and it says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough troubles of its own. I think we can all agree with that. You know, sometimes I have gotten in the bed at night, and I'm like, phew, I got through it. I made it, because I get up that morning thinking I've got this to do, that to do. I don't want to just get through my days. I want to live my days. You know, none of us know about tomorrow, so why not make the best of today? Let's not worry about tomorrow. Let's take care of today. And then the last one is 2 Timothy 1:7, and it says, for God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. You know, these are the kind of scriptures we can speak to our children. I think we need to guard especially what they see and hear right now, because we don't want to let fear get in them. We don't want them to walk around being afraid that they're not going to be able to get a hamburger tomorrow. You know, they said this morning that Wendy's is pulling their hamburgers off the menu right now because of meat and all they're going to start doing. I mean, you know, what I guess we're going to, you know, just a little disclosure here. I really like onions, and so I don't do it much anymore. Nate, one of my grandchildren, told me the other day, I FaceTime and talked to them, that, Mimi, when we eat onions, we need to brush our teeth, don't we? I thought, I guess he probably knows Mimi eats onions. And all. So, but anyway, we cannot allow fear in our lives. And my disclosure is, sometimes when I used to fix hamburgers, I would get the bun and cut an onion the thickness of a hamburger and put barbecue sauce on it, and I'd have an onion burger. Isn't that delightful? I'm probably in a minority on that one. But I want to end with this. Whose report are we going to believe? You know, are we going to believe? And what the world is telling us is what the world knows. But what we know is those things are subject to change moment by moment. But what isn't subject to change is God's Word.
That's right.
God's Word. And we can stand on that, and we can trust God in all of this. And I did this morning our scripture. I want to read one more verse, and then I want to close with one thing. I keep saying that, and now...
While you're looking at that, I'd like
Okay.
to add, when you were talking about God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. I think it was Pastor Charles that I heard say sound mind means a disciplined mind. Like, you have to discipline your mind. It's not just something that you say you,
can't
have.
just let it
Yes,
go everywhere.
it's a disciplined mind.
Yeah. It says in Psalms 130, verse 5, I'm counting on the Lord. Yes, I'm counting on Him. I have put my hope in His Word. And so this is my last thought, I promise. Fear is expecting the devil to act. Faith is expecting God to act. Who are you going to expect to act today? Are you going to expect the devil, or are you going to expect God? I'm going to expect God to act. because I've seen it over and over and over in my life. Sharon, have you
Yes.
got some people commenting?
Yeah,
on it?
we've got great response this morning. I know it's because of these two being on here.
because of her.
So I think
Melody.
Yeah.
Patty texted they were all watching you.
Oh, hi, Jonathan. Hi, Jackson. Hi, Abby. Hi, Avonlea. We love all four of y'all.
We've got Yvette, Gail, Kendra,
Oh,
Alexis, Dallas.
Hi,
Jacqueline.
Dallas. This is a good way to start your day. You now can come to Mommy Talk.
Oh, there's several. There's Erica
Well-
Dominguez and Emily Timian. That's
Oh,
our precious Emily. And so it's a great group.
welcome, welcome. Okay, today we have two pros, professional homeschoolers. Right, Melody? So,
Yes.
do you ever homeschool your grandchildren?
Yes, I homeschool my grandsons, Bo, Britt, and Brian. I do their language arts, and their mom does the other stuff. So I
Oh.
still get to homeschool. I'm still
Aw.
a homeschool mom,
So do you go out to their home or do you do?
either or.
Uh-huh.
They either come to my house or I'll go over there.
I know that, I hope you don't take it for granted because I don't get to homeschool. I don't get to see my grandkids maybe 4 times a year. And the fact that y'all have a treasure in 2 sets of grandparents that are
Yes.
here, that are present, that want to be involved in your children's lives. And so Melody homeschooled, and now Audra homeschools, and I'm sure that will go on and on for generations. So we asked them to come today and tell us, because we heard from Alexis about how a teacher who teaches in public schools, her recommendations, and then these are pros that have been doing homeschooling for years, so we thought it'd be great to have y'all come and give us some pointers too. So here's Audra.
So my mom has been homeschooling off and on for almost 30 years.
Wow.
She was homeschooling when homeschooling was not cool. When it was
That
not
is-
trendy
no.
when she started. We were kind of
Yes.
outcasts.
She was a trailblazer.
She really was, and
Yeah.
so I'm really excited. It's a passion,
Uh-huh.
and being home with my children is a passion. Being a mother is my passion, and I don't think that homeschooling and staying home with my children are mutually exclusive. Like, it's all the same for me. So I really want to encourage the moms that this is new. I feel like I chose to do this, and there's a lot of moms who are being forced into this new challenge, and you weren't prepared for it. And so I really want to encourage moms right now to see this time as a gift. And I've heard you talk about this already at Mommy Talk. Specifically, you shared the scripture, Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. If you have a child, you're called to be a mom. And so be encouraged. He's already called you. He will equip you. In God's hands, intended evil becomes eventual good. I really am seeing a lot of good come out of the intended evil.
Absolutely.
There's a lot.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, I see people, you know, that haven't cooked together, that haven't sat down at a table together, that haven't talked to each other together, that, I mean, now you're in this cocoon. This morning on the Today Show, I seem to be promoting, but they had a library teacher, a librarian, that every day she dresses up in something different and is reading books to her kids. And I mean, big time, big time. I mean, costumes and everything. And they surprised her, and all the kids dressed up in costumes. And by the time that little clip was over, one of the dads on there, I don't know his name, because I don't watch it enough to know all their names, but he was crying. And he said, and he was embarrassed that he was crying. And the Hoda and Savannah ladies were saying, "We love you all the more that you are crying." But you know, it's a new thing that, like you say, you chose it.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody any more than public school or college or you know, there are things that are for everybody, like Jesus. But you have to walk out your own path, and it's not our right or place to judge other people for whichever way they choose to do it. And you're right, back when Melody was doing it, there were people like, their kids are going to be socially retarded.
I got that. I had
I
people,
heard that one.
I was told
Yeah, look,
homeschoolers have the personality of a wet dish towel, is what a lady here in the church told me. I was
Are you
like, no, and I
serious?
was like, I know I'm not that outgoing, but I know, it
Were
was.
they kidding? Or?
No. They're very serious, but
It wasn't me, was it?
No, it
'Cause I
wasn't
wouldn't
you.
have
It
thought
was one of
that.
your friends, though. No, and sometimes I've been told, wow, you're not like a normal homeschooler, and sometimes I feel kind of offended by that because I'm
Yes.
like, well, I want to be, Does that mean I'm worldly? Like I don't know what you're trying to say, but I do think it is meant for everyone to love your children
Absolutely.
and to raise your children in the Lord. That's for everyone,
Absolutely.
and so that's really I want to encourage moms, but we have some practical things. We've been doing this for a long time. Like this isn't summer break for me. This isn't the coronavirus. This is my life. I do this every day. And so maybe I do know a thing or two. But Genesis 50:20 says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. The saving of many lives. That's what I see. I see the saving of many lives during this. Children aren't a distraction from the more important work. Children are the most important work. And that is my mantra, that's how I live. Really take this time that you have with your children, one-on-one, or your grandchildren. Take this time to build up their confidence. They have the opportunity not to be faced with bullies, not to be faced with these difficulties away from you. You could really, really take this time to, and not just the typical ways. I have a couple of thoughts. One of them is take time to fully listen and actually answer questions. Really listen, really give them your undivided attention and answer the questions that they have. Don't blow them off. Don't say, go ask your dad. And let them help make family decisions. And I have a really good personal story. When I was like maybe 14 or 15, my dad came up to me and handed me an atlas and the Good Sam's RV travel guide, and he said, I want you to plan our vacation this year. You get to pick where we go. And
Are
if you
you
know my dad,
kidding
it's a
me?
big deal.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and it was just the beginning of something for me because I love to plan. But I thought he trusts me enough he knows I do a good job at this.
So where did you go?
Oh, I researched. We went to New Braunfels. We went to Potters Creek, and went to Slitterbahn. But I got to pick all the stops. It was wonderful. He built my confidence in that moment, and I've never forgotten that. So that's something, because the Bible says, cast not away your confidence, which hath great recompense of rewards. It's a big deal. This is going to last for the rest of their lives. So I really think it's a good opportunity to really hone in on that.
One of my children felt especially bullied in school, and he always wanted to be homeschooled, and we never did that. If I had it to do over again, I would twist somebody's ear or whatever else I had to twist because I think it probably would have been the best thing in the world for him. And you're right, kids do get picked on at school. And to be able to have that time for them to be themselves, like you were saying earlier, we were talking before this program started. Sometimes when you're at school or around other people that you don't feel are going to love and appreciate everything about you, you hold back you. And we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And we are all different. And that doesn't mean you just let your crazy flag fly all the time or your mean flag or whatever other flag you might have. But at home, it's a safe place. They can be.
And I've heard so many moms, and I know my mom has too, say, I could never. Well, I could never. That's good for you. I could never stay home with my kids. They drive me crazy, or, and I hope, even if people, the kids will go back to public school, but I hope during this time that they realize, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And then not say, I could never. Yes, I can. I think that's so important for the mom's confidence to be built up in that too. Maybe some people will, people that thought, I wished I could homeschool. Maybe this time is going to tell them, maybe I can,
Yeah,
or
I can work
I have
this
the
out.
option. I have the option. One of my biggest tips, and something that my mom taught, really mom got into more of this with Sarah, but it was make time for delight-directed learning. I don't know right now, different towns, different districts have different things. Some people are still doing, distance learning from the public schools. Some people aren't. And so, number one, you need to know what's expected of me first before you proceed with this. But even if you have the required homework and stuff, make time for delight-directed learning. It's an actual thing. It's not just something I made up.
Delight-directed learning.
So at the beginning of the year, I'll ask my kids, what do you want to learn about this year? And Jonathan, he's my little historian, he said, Chernobyl. I said, Chernobyl, okay. We want to learn about the clouds and things like that. Center it around something, because they're natural learners. They're going to dig in to whatever it is.
So each one of them tell you something
They
wanna
all
learn
have
about?
different things. It's kind of like when we set goals. Like, what's some of your goals? What would you like to learn about this year? What are you interested in? And we're going to go with that bent in that child, because you don't have to force.
Right.
I wrote down, no test needed. You don't test. I don't need to test my children on something that they're delighted to learn, because they're going to really dig in. I read, education is not filling a bucket, but lighting a fire.
Oh, that's
And it's been my heart from the beginning to teach my children to love to learn first. That's the first thing that we're going to lay down. I had someone say something once to my kids about, oh yeah, broccoli's like math, or math is like broccoli, or something like that. And my kids looked at me, because they like math and they like broccoli. They don't know that it's, they don't have a negative association with it. Children are natural learners. Children are great imitators, so give them something great to imitate, is one of my favorite things. They're going to imitate, Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I wanted to add something. I don't know.
You might put that up.
We on purpose didn't talk about what she's going to say, because I didn't, But the scripture I got this morning, it goes along with one of her points. Proverbs 22:6. We all know it is. Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're old, they'll not depart. I used to look at that as, you go that way. Go. That's not what it's saying. And when you look it up in the Amplified, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, teaching him to seek God's wisdom and will for his abilities and talents. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. So this delight learning she's talking about, help them find their talents. Help them find their abilities. They're not going to be the same as Bobby, Audra, and Sarah was as different. Oh my goodness, they were all different. But here's, if I could give a word of encouragement, God did not look down at March 2020 and say, oh my, I didn't see that coming. Did you, Jesus? That didn't happen. So these moms and these children were born for such a time as this. 2000, they got it going on. What the devil has meant for bad, and what I don't want them looking at, got to be home with my kids now. I got as bad. It's not bad.
It's a get to.
It's a get to, and it's going to be a good thing. How worthy did he see us, that to take what the enemy meant for bad and let us be here to see it prosper and to see it come out better than ever before in our families.
Let me say this, because I feel like the Lord just said this to me. I don't do stuff like this. He said it's like a backpack, and we've sent them off to school with not very much in their backpacks.
Good.
And now we're getting to fill their backpack.
Good.
Because they're going to be warriors, and they're going to need their backpacks full. Because I just have goosebumps all over me. I promise you this is God and not me. Because, days are changing, and things are changing. And as we get closer to end times, they're going to need a full backpack. Right now, we get to fill their backpack.
Right.
And so what are we going to fill it with?
That is so good.
That's really good.
That's not me, y'all. That's
Because
God.
February 2020, they didn't need what they're going to need now in that backpack.
And maybe, not maybe, a lot of you didn't choose to be doing what you're getting to do, but let me just tell you, you're getting to do it, and you want to arm your children with everything they're going to need. So fill up their backpack. That's from God, not me. Fill up their backpack. You have that time right now where we were sending them off with just a few things in that backpack. Pour it into them. Walk it out. Talk it out. When you teach them, you know, when you're laying down, when you're standing up, when you're walking, it talks about that in the Bible.
That's my next scripture I had
There you
written
go.
down.
What a great
I
segue.
know, it just
is
led
God.
right to it.
We are here with God today, folks.
Oh, well, I wrote down my next point is don't do public school at home. And that's something some homeschool moms do more like that, you know, it would be more like public school at home. But right now, don't do that. You know, that's not necessary at this point. Change up the space. Let them choose. Learning happens everywhere, and that's a big thing. It's there's no stagnation there. Let them give them that freedom. It makes them more excited. And I wrote down, teach them when you're at home, on the road, when you go to bed, and when you wake up. That's what the scripture says in Deuteronomy. They're more open that way. And don't let schooling interfere with your education. Mark Twain said that. And I love that. Get outside as soon as possible. Don't wait. You don't have to wait for recess. They're not having to earn, you know, their recess time. I highly recommend you get them outside first thing in the morning. Like, let them get out there with them, and you can school outside. You can find, depending on what you're doing, you can do things outside. I've heard a lot of people say, and I've even seen memes about it. I had 2 favorite subjects in school: lunch and recess.
Oh.
But the thing is, you have the opportunity to. I like to take the less interesting things and merge them with eating. When my kids eat, most of the time, that's when I'll do their devotional with them, or we'll do more of a read aloud because they're quiet because they're feeding their faces, but they associate. Or we sometimes will have tea time. Let's all have tea. My kids like tea. Let's have a tea time, and we'll do poetry or something like that because they're more interested when something good, when they're tasting. I think there's something in the Bible about eating the word and tasting like honey.
Word. Yeah.
And do things outside. Like that's I think one of the best tips I could say: merge the less interesting with the most interesting.
And I think it's good that, like with Melanie, she's letting Melody teach her strengths, and then Melanie's teaching her strengths. And that you know, if there's something you don't feel confident in, find somebody that is good at it. You know, like Todd is a science teacher. And, you know, I told him, I said, you could be teaching science on you know, because most people don't get science, or they don't take the time to get science.
Right.
You know, I think that one of the keys to learning is always, and I used to tell my kids, when you get up in high school and on into college and you get to pick your subjects, it's going to get easier and easier, not harder and harder, because there are things you're interested in.
Exactly.
I care nothing about physics and chemistry. As you can tell when I cook, because I just dump it all in. But there are things I'm passionate about. Math, I love math and stuff like that. I don't love it, I like it. I love my family and God. But anyway, finding out what they want to learn for the year and incorporating that in, well, the other 3 are going to learn it too, since you're teaching it to the one that, so maybe they will develop a passion for it. But I think one of the great things about educating our children is exposing them to a lot of different things, because if you don't ever know anything about it, you don't know if you would be good at it or like it or not. And also,
I want to say too, you know, we used to say, I used to tell my kids when I would decide to break down or whatever, I'd say, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother. And because I had a hard time, you know, balancing the two. But I want to say that about, you're not a public school teacher, you're their mama. Don't be caught up in trying to be just like the public school teacher. They really need a mama right now more than they do need that public school teacher. They need that security of knowing. And it just so happens mama's teaching math right now, and mama's teaching this, you know, all these different subjects. But mama's still mama. They've got to have that. And I think that's a God-given calling. And so I just want to add that.
Are you glad you homeschooled all
Oh,
three of them?
yes, I'm so glad. And we did, Sarah went to public school and the last 2 years, because she wanted to be a cheerleader. And I let her.
How'd that work for her?
Yeah, she got to be a cheerleader, but I really wish we had did it all the way through, but that was for such a time. And she definitely learned a lot more and then, learned things that I wouldn't have taught her and I couldn't
Well,
have taught her.
that goes with the scripture that you just said about
Her
you know,
bent.
Her, yeah,
Her
like
bent, her
that's
ability.
that was
Her
important to her.
bending.
I never wanted to go back to public school. I went kindergarten, first, second, and then my sister was like, it was more interesting to her, and to me, I would cry thinking about it. Like I had no desire. I was not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just different bending.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
know.
Bobby, my brother, he learns. I don't know. I don't remember all the different learning styles, but Bobby is a genius. But did not enjoy doing book work. So he would find people in the church to hook up with, and they would teach him. Bobby can do anything. He can weld. He used to go on police rides with Kevin. Like he would he would farm, and homeschooling gave him that opportunity because he had the time, and he did his book work too. But that was the way he learned, and I was more of a classic student,
She was the natural public school kid that
Yeah.
hated public school, but I would sit down on Saturdays with I made the lesson plans in the spiral notebook, and she enjoyed Monday morning jumping up and grabbing her notebook and doing it in order, exactly as it was. And I think Bobby enjoyed looking at it and thinking, we'll see. But he definitely didn't do it in that order, at least that he did do all of his school every day.
Everybody, like for me, and this gets back to that same thing, but for me to study, I had to be in my bedroom, in the middle of the bed, with my books around me, and no sound or any noise, because I am way too easily distracted. I mean, anything that I can distract myself with, even, because it's just so hard for me to sit still and learn that way. And that may be one of the problems y'all are having, is every child learns in a different way. My husband, I can go into the den and he will have a mouthful of highlighters, like 3 in his mouth, and a book on one arm of the chair, a couple of Bibles, he's got his legs folded in the middle, and another one over here, and the TV going. I don't understand how he could get one thing out of that. And when I teach now, I sit in a chair and I have books and Bibles all the way around my feet, and all my highlighters here, and I have, green is for the Word because it's life, and, orange is something really important.
I see that.
Yeah. And this is how I do. This is what I do. And so, we are challenged to know our children because, God didn't make a mistake when He gave you the child that is driving you absolutely crazy. Maybe it's because that child is so much like their parent.
Right, typically.
And so, but we are challenged to figure out what to put in their backpacks.
Right. That's good.
I wanted to mention when I was talking about merging the less interesting with the more interesting, Jackson, he just turned 9. Ever since he was little bitty, I would read to them and read alouds, and I'd have him tell it back to me. It's called narrating. And he could literally be standing on his head or talking, and you think he's not listening. No way he's listening. He remembers every detail. I was reading Little Women to him when he was like maybe 5, and he's like, now I can't, Beth died of scarlet fever, and I'm like, you were listening? You were talking over me the whole time, but I let him wiggle, and I let him move. And so I do encourage moms with, I have, 4 kids and all different ages. Give the little ones something to do with their hands. Let them bounce on a ball. We've had a little trampoline in our house for Avonlea to do while you're working with the older children. Another big one for me is never use reading as a punishment. I hear so many moms do, especially not the Bible. That breaks my heart when I hear that. But reading in general, it should be fun. Abby has a hard time sleeping at night, winding down. So I got her a little flashlight. And she has read more. I said, you can stay up as late as you want. They have a bedtime, but you can stay up as late as you want reading in your bed. They love to read. Like it just built that, ooh, this is special. It's not a punishment. So never, never, never use reading as a punishment. And another
Or math or anything.
or anything, but I hear that a lot. Like you go sit in your, go sit over there and read a book or read your Bible. Also, another big tip: don't take too long.
Yeah,
School does
keep
not
it
need to take
short,
long.
Keep it short.
Especially if you're homeschooled, if you're not in a classroom with 30 kids, you don't need to be schooling until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
I had a full load of school, and I was always done by lunch. Like that was my. Now Bobby, he would lollygag a little bit. So that's another one. Don't let it take too long. Don't make them sit there too long. Tie heartstrings, especially with your older children. Mine is about to be 13. I'm fixing to have a teenager.
I cannot believe that.
And so I'm just learning. She knows more about the older children, but I can say tie those heartstrings, because whether we like it or not, some are going to get cut. So we want to make sure we have so many strings from our heart to our child's heart, so that we stay connected.
Give an example of that.
For instance, they're going to mess up. They're going to get in trouble. We're going to have those talks, right? Well, make sure before that, during the day that you're connecting with your child, sit down. My children, if I had $1 for every hug and kiss those kids get all day long, every day, connect with them. Talk with them. Sit down and do a puzzle. Ask them how their day is. Make those connections. Go every once in a while. Me and Tanner can go out on a date with our kids. We don't get a lot of one-on-one time with them, but that's a way that we can tie a heartstring with our child. You purpose to make sure you've invested in them before time for discipline. It's a lot better.
I want to say this too. Go see. When they say, come look, go see. Go see. I wished now, the times that Bobby was out in the backyard instead of doing his school and building something, and he come in and said, go see. I wished I'd have went every time that he said, would you come look at this, Mama? That's a regret.
Yes.
I did often. I didn't every time. And it would never have been a waste of time to go.
Never.
And that's so practical. Go see.
see.
I've got 4
Yeah.
that want me to see something all day long.
Yeah.
And
When Todd is home with us right now. When he comes in and when my husband comes in, every time I pause the TV, I put down what I'm doing. Last night I was getting to study, and Todd came in, and I was running through my head, I need to get this done. I don't want to, I pause the TV, and I look at him, and I talk to him as long as he wants to talk. Even though sometimes in my brain, and my husband, I'm thinking, one thing I did with my kids, and I've never regretted it, and I did it with Abby, as a matter of fact, is we have our day in Lubbock, and I took each one of them every summer by themselves, and we would get in the car and pray, and I would tell them, you can say whatever you want to me today, just as long as you say it respectful. I didn't like when you yelled at me the other day. I didn't like it either. That I was wrong about that, and that's why I told you I was sorry. Shut up, kid. Not really. But we would go, eat lots of desserts at different places. They got to pick the whole day. That's kind of the same thing your dad did with you, I did with Abby.
Yes. In
And
his
she
own way.
picked where, and I got to eat it.
Panda Express.
Panda Express, and I was like, oh, you want to eat Chinese food? Do you want to go to P.F. Chang's? And no, Panda Express.
It's the wrong
And
kid.
I said, how about Payways? No, Panda Express. My mom doesn't like Panda Express, so I don't ever get to eat there. So
you
thank you. I
asked.
got,
She's not
and I
right.
loved every
Yeah, I
minute
know.
of it.
She's so direct and
Yeah.
black
Well,
and
I
white.
wanted
I
that.
know, and she knew you were
Yeah.
okay with it, so
Oh,
you
it
asked.
was
so
great.
I want
It
Panda
was
Express.
a great day.
Well, you know how to tie heartstrings then.
Yeah.
You're really good at
Yeah,
that. And
I
that's
do.
exactly what
I
I
do.
mean. Mark, this is kind of on the same subject. Mark Twain has this saying about eat the frog first thing in the morning. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Which I think is terrific for productivity. If you're going to do the hardest thing, do the worst thing, and then you don't have to dread it all day. I don't think that applies to homeschooling. And this is why. homeschooling is about relationships. And you're building that relationship with your child. If I can start my morning off on a really good note, my kids ask me every single night, what are we doing tomorrow, Mama? Like, I want to give them something exciting, and I don't want it to be the carrot dangling at the end of the day for them. I want to start the day that way. It's better for our relationship. So,
So when do you put the frog in? Midday or at the end?
usually midday, close to mealtime. Usually that's what it is. Usually I will attach anything like I will feed them, and then we will, like, you'll get a really good snack or something, and then we're gonna is
Do
how
the
that
thing you
goes.
don't
Yes,
enjoy.
yes. Lead by example. Don't require from your child what you aren't willing to do. I've heard too many moms nag their kids, or talk about, my kid won't make their bed. Well, do you make yours? Like, it's little things like that. You want your child to limit their screen time. You don't want your kids looking at their devices. Set the example. There's nothing to hold you more accountable than children that stay home with you.
All right.
And I know, because used to I had little ones, they were like little stair steps, and they were just oblivious to anything. Well, now they're older, and I have Abby. Definitely to call me out. Mom, I need to talk to you about something. It's like, they hold me accountable. So your kids are watching you.
Yeah.
Schedule fun. You should always schedule something fun. I think that's so important. Make chores fun. Moms that are staying home now, and you're actually home all day long, you're not just getting home and doing supper, your house gets so messy. Have your children help, but try to make it fun. I think the Fly Lady talks about doing that, like, 15-minute room rescue. We've done that. Like, I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. Let's see what we can get done. Like, this is just basic stuff, like, for anybody.
Can I interject there?
Please.
On the chore thing, I think that, especially when you're frustrated, number one, I know frustration is your check engine light from the Lord. You're getting frustrated, there's something you need to check on. But when you are home and you're overwhelmed with the mess, and you tell them, go clean your room, that is overwhelming. And so I learned that with this girl. Break it down. Say, go in there and bring me all of your laundry, just your laundry, just bring me the laundry, and then do the trash, and then do the toys. If you break it down, they feel more successful, and you're not screaming at them, and you're less frustrated. So that's a practical tip on that.
A couple of more things that I share with a lot of new homeschool moms is family studies. You take the subjects, especially history and science and Bible, things like that, that everyone can do together, and do those things together. It is a time saver. Usually math and language arts or reading, or they're not on the same level, but you can do history together. And print out a coloring page for your little ones that go along with it. I like to do that and have them. It's like we used to do in children's church. You know what I mean? Here's your Bible page. You're going to color while you listen to the teacher. But family studies is a big deal.
When do you do that?
I usually do that in the morning. And I brought an example of a morning basket. No, I don't want you leaning over. I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't want you to fall. I'll get it in a second. But I'm going to talk about are you a crock pot morning person? I'm sorry, it's so heavy.
It's not. It's not.
A
a crock pot.
Okay, so the people that wake up and they want to drink their coffee, and that takes them a while. Some children are like that. Some children are crock pot children, and so I encourage a morning basket. And in this basket, I have a couple of things that you can just sit down and do your family studies. For instance, here's my the Usborne Book of World History. It's so fun. It's one of the things we love. That's something you can read together. And then we love these books. The Who Was, Harriet Tubman. We finished this. My kids love to sit down and have me read this. We'll do this with Tanner. We do family studies even with Tanner in the evening. What's this? Joe McGee recommended this Bible, but I don't know how to say that right.
Ergmans? Is it
Ergmans?
Ergmans?
Yeah. This is
I'm not even going to attempt
this
to.
is a terrific
Eggmeyer's is one he.
family
Oh,
Bible.
yes.
This is, oh man, it's so good.
And it's for children?
And
Yes,
for
and
adults,
it's
who
adults.
didn't know the word.
Yeah.
Because it breaks it down so simple that even adults now
Okay,
can say.
I
guys.
highly recommend it.
Here's a tool. Here's a tool. I, every morning, had the Joyce Meyer Flip Devotional. And Taylor and I read through that every day. While he was eating, I would read the thought and the scripture, and we would talk about it. And we went through that. You know, I had to get a second one because the pages, and actually I found the other day that I'd had a third one because we just went through it year after year and hid that word in our heart and that thought.
Yeah. Well, have things, I like to throw things. If honestly, I don't really do a basket. My house, we're just kind of set up to know how we roll. But if you were new, I highly recommend
And so
just
let's
throwing
turn-
it all in the basket.
And so you have crayons and pencils and
crayons,
flashcards.
This landmark, I will have them pick, I'll give them 10 cards and they can pick their favorite landmark, and then they will do like a presentation about it. It's so much fun. Jonathan built these Legos. He likes to build the Legos. It keeps his hands busy. But yeah, Avonlea little bird book. I love this. And so, another thing, have them journal. Have them have when you do your devotional, have them, you can see right here, I can't find it now, but Abby draws pictures too, but she takes her notes and stuff, and I don't know, it's depending on the age of your child, depends on what you're going to put in your morning
Age
basket.
appropriate.
This is Avonlea's morning binder, and I'm going to put this down now.
Let me hold your mic while you do
No, I
it.
got it now. So you can just print off stuff off the internet. I have scriptures. Whatever you want your child to be working on. If they're learning their colors, if they're memorizing
How
the
old is
periodic
Avonlea?
table. Avonlea is 5.
Okay.
So she takes her little dry erase marker and she goes through and says today is, what the day is, what the month is. She can circle all that. And then it goes on. You can print anything. The weather, how she's feeling that day. She circles if she's sad.
Oh, she circles one that describes.
Yes, and the weather. She
Y'all
practices
look at
her
that. She
name.
can, today, the weather is rainy or partly cloudy or
Right.
snowy, sunny, cloudy, windy. She can circle the one that describes
Yes.
that day.
And then she can practice her letters and her numbers. This is something that makes her feel like such a big girl, and it frees me up to work with the older kids. And she's got her little dry erase marker. She loves it. She's
So
also
she's got a school book and
yeah,
she's doing
and
stuff too.
yes. And so this isn't curriculum. I have school curriculum too, and that's people's personal choice. I love all the options there are. But the other thing is rotation stations. If you've got different ages like I do, you can have one getting to do ABC Mouse on the computer while you're working with this one, while some of the older ones are helping with Avonlea. Let the older kids help with the younger kids. They can teach better than you in some things, and it makes them feel valued. And it frees me up once again. So we will rotate through. You get to build with wooden blocks, because all kids love that. You get to work on the iPad, which we don't do a lot of. I'm going to work with this one. You can help Avonlea. Like it's wonderful to rotate, kind of like centers. You can go wash dishes, like the little play dishes. You can go jump on the trampoline outside. You can water the flowers. We're going to rotate through, and everyone's going to get a turn. So I love rotation stations. Find your family rhythm, which if you're a crock pot person in the morning, the morning basket's a winner because it's already there. You can go ahead and get started. Everyone wins prepping at night. I don't care if you're prepping your food, laying out your clothes, figuring out what you want to do. And then something that I wanted to say is the kitchen is closed. So I'm home all day. We don't have, it's not a big free-for-all in the kitchen because I don't want to have to clean over and over and over. I know a lot of moms are struggling right now with the meal prep. And so my tip is try to do as much as you can in the morning. If you can throw some meatballs in the crock pot while you fix breakfast and maybe make a meatball sub for lunch, that's one thing that you've already taken care of. And so, but your kids need to know the kitchen's closed now, you know, like a restaurant. Like we're not going to keep.
Going
I
back
wouldn't
to-
have any groceries left if my kitchen didn't get closed. They would eat me out of house and home. So
That's a big point.
it is.
You know, and as the one hunting and gathering in my family, I will go buy stuff. Like the other day, I had because we have an old 33-year-old refrigerator that will not die in the garage. And so I had hid 2 boxes of vanilla wafers out there because my intent was to make some banana pudding with the vanilla wafers. And one of my precious family members, I went in to say something to him, and there was a handful of the vanilla wafers in their plate. And I'm like,
That's Tanner.
yeah, I'm like, I was going to make, so I try to get them to ask, did you buy this to cook something? Because, then leave it alone or you won't have banana pudding or whatever it is. But the kitchen is closed because it's hard when you're home all day not to cruise through there and grab a couple of crackers or do something like that. And then that just, the pounds that you were talking about,
Yes.
that does that. So,
Yeah. I think it's important that kids have boundaries and routine. I believe in that. And I think they all thrive with that when they know what to expect. And so it's like we have like a general 3 to 5 snacks that you have an option of during snack time and things like that. So I think that's important. The last thing I want to say is make sure your cup is full. You can't pour from an empty cup. And when you feel the need to escape, when you're like, okay, I've got to go. I need to go to my room. I would encourage you try escaping with your children first, because the more you pull away from them, the easier that gets, and the chances of that they're feeling overwhelmed and they're feeling frazzled is, if you're feeling that way, they're probably feeling that way. Escape with your kid. Pop some popcorn. Turn on a good movie. Do something. Don't pull away from
have
them.
a water fight outside.
Yeah,
I
yes.
love to do water fights.
Yes, exactly. But don't. I know my tendency is to be like, I'd go sit in my closet just for a minute, But and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to. I don't want to pull away or push my children away. I want to escape with my child. And husbands come first. Always remember that. I'm with my kids all day long. When my husband comes home, he's king. He's first. To my children, too. It's a big celebration when Dad comes home. Everyone's excited. Usually they hide. I don't know why. That's run and hide. Dad's here. Like, he doesn't think they're going to be. Then he walks in and goes, where are the kids? I'm like, okay.
Oh, they're all hiding.
We're still doing this, okay?
Yeah.
So that's really what I want to say.
Yeah. Melody, what are like 3 takeaways when you were raising your kids and doing all of this? Did you feel good about it all the time?
No, I don't think I felt good about it all the time. She's hit up things I would say. Definitely husbands come first. Your kids need that security, and then kids come next. Kids have to know that, like she said before, they're not a distraction from the important work. They are the important work. Just relax and enjoy where you are, and if you can't do anything else, pull them in your lap and read to them. That signifies to them not only the heartstring thing, but everything's going to be okay. And that's, I think, in this day and time, even if you're not going to, as I said before, teach them that, wow, can you believe God saw you strong enough to be here at this time, then at least teach them everything's going to be okay, because he is still on the throne, and that hasn't changed. And this is an opportunity not only for the children, but for the parents, for us to pull away and to be home and to get in the Word, let the Word, and start speaking it out. We have been silent. I've been silent for a long time. Well, I really don't fit there. I'm going to get ostracized if I say this. We've got to start speaking what God's Word said. Whatsoever things are good, pure, honest, of good report, like you talked about a minute ago. That's where we need to be. So that's my takeaway.
I think one of the things that is, and I've said this several times, I know, but one of the things that's helped me be who I am as a mother and a wife, and just in my Christian walk, is to realize that there's a host of people, first in your own home and then around you, that's watching what you do. And if you're going to run through the house screaming and pulling your hair out, my God, we just might as well all drink some red Kool-Aid right now, because this is the end of times, then that's what they're going to feel and think too. And I just think it's an opportunity, and I've said this before, but I mean, like, I have cleaned out 12-foot shelves in the den, climbed up the ladder and got on top, and I mean, things that I've wanted to do, and I walk by and see, and I think I'll get to that eventually, touch-up paint and things like that. This is a time we get to do stuff, not we have to do stuff. This is a time we get to slow down. Like, normally every day I put on my makeup, and I still do that, but I don't pencil in my eyebrows. That's the one thing I don't do unless I'm going to be out. You know, I give myself a little bit of a break because I don't have that many eyebrows anymore. Well, I have 2 eyebrows, but I don't have that many hairs. And so I give myself a break on that. But I think having a schedule like you're talking about, I think we should get up every day and make our bed and put on our clothes and put on our makeup and fix our hair and not let our kids just run around in their pajamas all day long. And that's fine every now and then, but to make that a way of life with no structure and all is not reality. And it doesn't help keep them, then it makes it harder to get them back in the groove. And when they first started lifting restrictions, I was kind of like, oh, I'm just getting used to this and I'm getting all this stuff done. I wonder if we could just take a little bit longer, you know, that kind of thing. But we need, every day is a gift.
Right.
And we need to take advantage of every day and just look at what we can do with that half-filled glass instead of what's missing in the part that's not there. There's more good than bad, guys, every day. Every day. Sharon, you haven't gotten to say much. What do you?
Oh, I have so enjoyed seeing people coming in and watching for a while and commenting. By the way, the Ugermeyer's Bible, we can get that in our bookstore. I think we sell it for like $10.99.
Oh,
So
wow.
We do
I wanna
highly
order
recommend
one.
that. Oh, yeah. So
I
many
want to
of our
order 2,
moms.
one for me and one for my grandkids.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
Misty Smith, home from the hospital,
Yay,
and watching Mommy talk
Misty.
today. We're so blessed. And she said she always wants you to know that Waylon out loud said hi.
Oh, Waylon Aspen, hi.
So we
Waylon
have
is such a
several
smart little boy.
daddies. We have Delwyn McSpadden watching
Oh,
us
Delwyn.
today.
Delwyn, we miss you, we miss you. She is a teacher in the private Christian school.
Yes, she is.
She has taught for probably,
All her life,
yeah,
I think.
40, one of the smartest people I know, Delwyn. I always say that, and so creative, so gifted, and you should get some advice from her. Send us some advice, Delwyn, please.
I got tickled at Jacqueline Shedd when you were talking about give your child the ability to, while they're learning, do whatever makes them happy, if it's moving around. And she said that Evan always did his homework standing up, and Michaela did her homework standing on her head. And I just get a vision of that, and I think you are truly experiencing this at home, moms. You know, and you know, how can you make them be still when they have so much energy? So I thought that was one of my favorite things that y'all mentioned, you know, and not that it doesn't make for a kind of a chaotic atmosphere sometimes, but if you're not chaotic in response to them, then that kind of becomes your new norm after a while. And that's one thing I've seen in all of my girls, you know. My daughter has middle school age children, and then Leah, you know, she has the 3 little ones. 2 aren't even in school yet. She is grown into this and is, you know, thoroughly enjoying it most of the time. And the challenges are just having a break every once in a while, and that's where I come in. You know, they know that they can come to my house, it's going to be clean and sanitized, and I'm not going to take them out, you know, in crowds. So they don't think those kids have been in a store. You know, all of that they don't seem to have missed. And do you realize our kids have watched our expressions and listened to our discussions and watch the stuff on TV and on social media, and they've lost their normal situation in school. Our seniors, everything has changed in their lives that are so drastic, and all of these little ones who can't quite put expression on their words. You know, if mama's okay, if daddy's okay, then, you know,
It's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
Tanner said his goal is when our kids are older and they look back during this time, because they really don't know, you know. He said he wants them to think, wow, my parents were so cool. They rocked that. Like, we didn't know,
Yeah,
you know, we didn't.
yeah.
Like, they walked in faith. They walked that out. They did that for us. They
And
I
kept
said,
them
yeah,
safe.
like they're gonna look back. I hope, and other than toilet paper, they're not gonna think. They're gonna think, Mama said, don't use more than 3 squares. You know, like other than that, I hope they're gonna say that's what that was about. That's
I
awesome.
think when
Very good.
when I taught about youth and teens, Brooklyn said something, my granddaughter, that really stuck with me. She said, we're, you know, so many in her age bracket feel like they're missing out on so much now. You're not really missing out. You're getting a new opportunity here. You're getting to spend more time with figuring out who you are. As a teenager, you know, we're chameleons when we're teenagers. And, you know, oh, I better not say that because that's not cool. And I better wear this. I've got to have this. I don't care if I don't get anything else for my birthday. I've got to have these $100 tennis shoes or whatever. And that kind of stuff. Well, now you're home and other people aren't watching you. Figure out who you are. What do you really like? What really makes you happy? There's a movie with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, Runaway Bride. And do you know what I'm talking about?
I thought you were gonna say that other movie they were in.
Pretty Woman? No.
I've never seen Pretty Woman.
Well, it's a good movie to watch. Anyway, but she was engaged to all these different guys and ran out on them at the last moment. But whatever kind of eggs they liked, whatever kind of eggs they liked, that's what she liked. And Richard Gere asked her at one point, what kind of eggs do you like? You don't even know who you are and what you like. This is a great time to figure out who you are and what you like and what makes you happy. And, you know, if we can't love and like ourselves and realize that God made us and it's okay to be me, and because we all beat ourselves up, I'm the chief. I don't ever walk out of this TV thing especially happy with myself. And, but we do need to, we're not missing out. We're having gifts here. We're having opportunities to be us and figure out who us is, you know. And then Hannah has just stuck with me, makes me so proud of my son-in-law that he would sit in the room with that preteen and that early teen and just sit there with her, even if she didn't want to talk. He was there and he was present. So I'm here if you want to say something to me, and I'm here if you don't want to say something to me. In other words, sister, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm available.
You know, and I just think those things are something we could do, and things that are the important things, the important heart ties that you talked about, those threads. That's what's important, that they look back and it isn't, oh my God, my mother was barricading the door in case and bought more bullets and guns in case people start trying to steal our toilet tissue and that kind of thing. That they were reading their Bibles and they were walking in faith, and we were playing and having fun and living our lives. And so those are the things that we want you to take away today and take away every time. Sharon, is there anything else to finish
No,
with?
it's all been really good. There's a lot of positive comments, though.
Well, that's
Just tons
good.
of them.
Well, guys, we love y'all. Paige, we're thrilled you have a new baby. What a gift, what a blessing. Kids are just make everything new and everything fresh. And so we love y'all today. Thank y'all for being here. You did a great job.
Absolutely
And
awesome.
Lots of good wisdom from both of you. So thank you, Sharon, for
You're
always
welcome,
being
sweetie.
my wingman, my wing lady. We love each other up here. Remember, Mother's Day Sunday, y'all come 10:30. We're going to have a great time, hear a great word, be encouraged, and just stay encouraged. Build up yourself. Build up yourself in the Word. Build up yourself praying. That's what's going to get us all through this together. We love you guys. God bless you. Bye-bye.